was an F5000 event all the way back in 1975. Then 8 years of Formula One, U.S. Grand Prix, and then the kart champ and IndyCar racing since then. And if you have not had the pleasure of attending a Long Beach Grand Prix, if you're here in the U.S., there's really no excuse not to. You can fly right into the Long Beach airport, $20 cab ride downtown, stay on the Queen Mary, and watch a combo weekend of IMSA sports car racing and Indy cars. And around here, we call it Cardi Gras. It is absolutely fantastic. Today's configuration is just under 2 miles or 3.1 clicks, 11 corners, with the lap record set by Colton Herta in an Indy car. 2022 105 309 is that record. So let me get squared away here. It looks like we are on the grid and counting down, and we're going to have a start here for you in a second. But right now up front in the in pole is, I've completely lost it. Looks like, yeah, please, Josh, if you wouldn't mind. Having some technical issues here. So we got Havard Gullikson on pole next to Barron, Christoph Lipp next to Fonseca in 3 and 4. Andreas Friedrich will start next to James Barry, reappearing here for the first time in a while. Reitman next to Tuominen, Tavarin next to Lipp, Kim Andre Bjorklund, that's Sebastian Lipp, and we're green. And Aaron is here, but we'll hear from him later. And that is going to be Havard Gullikson there. He's going to have the inside line into turn 1. And my goodness, Aaron, so many difficult things about this race. It is bumpy. It is dangerous with those concrete walls. I bet we see someone kiss one right here. And if there's any way to make it more dangerous, oh, no. Boom, there goes somebody in the fountain. Why not make it pitch black? So we're a little bit off schedule with our show today. But Aaron, what do you think about this madness unfolding here at Long Beach?
Well, we were talking about it just before we came live, is the fact that, you know, you want to make Long Beach in these cars any more difficult, make it nighttime. That's a great idea, iRacing. Thank you. Great idea. As some drivers we've already seen on this first lap struggling to get to grips with this car and this track combination. Oh, it's a big whack to the wall for Andreas Friedrich. I'd be very surprised if he got away with no damage there, but that outside wall can sometimes be a bit hit or miss. Sometimes you get a huge whack, and sometimes it's almost like hitting a cushion. I think he's gotten away with it for now, but he's going to have to be careful around this track. As we saw second place starter man, I believe it was Fonseca or Berendt. I think it was Berendt who tried to go up the inside of Gullikson in the fountain, and it didn't go to plan at all, and he's finding himself behind now. Christoph Lipp in third place as well. Well, speaking of which, Christoph Lipp has just made his way into the lead. So he's had an absolutely stonking start to this race, as Gullikson was not able to defend. Kind of weird, considering track position is probably the most important thing around this track. I mean, it's basically the American version of Monaco, to be honest. It's absolutely deadly around here. And maybe not as narrow as Monaco, but it's damn near close.
Yeah, good work there by Lipp. He's up 2 positions, and he is going to take advantage of the draft. This is a long straightaway. You're looking at Ocean Boulevard here, and or I'm sorry, I've completely messed that up. Shoreline. That is Shoreline Drive, and you see Lipp take Gullikson on the outside there as Gullikson tries to defend the inside. So we are going to see some heavy drafting on that long straightaway on Shoreline Drive, so we will see some action there contesting turn 1. And Aaron, I had an opportunity to throw some laps down out here a couple of times this week. One, I got to say I was a little shocked by the darkness, but I guess it makes it different and interesting and keeps the track temps under control. But I've got to say this setup is horrific. It is very bumpy here. As you can see on our broadcast there, this is not asphalt. They're concrete blocks, and it is extremely bumpy. And the dampers on these cars, and there's a spinner that is going to be Tavarin. He's going to spin to the inside, get a little smooch of the wall. And these walls of Long Beach have claimed another victim. We're going to be picking up body panels and replacing control arms hand over fist at the end of this one. But yeah, Aaron, this setup, very bouncy, very tough to get the power down. And they have thrown every possible obstacle at these drivers to get a good race in here at Long Beach.
Well, I don't know if floodlights have been invented in America yet, but it is dark. It is absolutely pitch black. I mean, you saw there from Tavarin when you get by yourself, it is dark, man. You cannot see anything. So these guys are extremely lucky to basically have collapsed suns as headlights, so they can actually see where they're going. But just going through, I think it was turn 9 there, you actually see how hard those guys are braking. Any of you keen-eyed viewers there would have seen this. I believe it was Fonseca's brakes were glowing red, and we don't really get to see that kind of level of detail often in these radical cars, as we're often very, very far away in the distance looking on. But here at Long Beach, we can get up close and personal, as can the drivers on each other. As Larson trying to go around the outside of Friedrich, who's having a dreadful race, to be honest. He started 5th, bear in mind. And that outside line going into turn 1 seems to be the favourite, weirdly. I mean, we saw Lip do it on Gullickson. That was a brilliant overtake. And another good overtake from Larson on Friedrich. So maybe Friedrich has picked up damage, because he is just falling like a stone.
Yeah, Friedrich has dropped 6 from his qualifying position to P5 all the way down in 11th now. And that very tough. You're seeing him go through it right now off of Pine Street down onto Seaside Way. It's a little off camber there. You got a trail break through there, and there's a big pad there for safety. And you kind of have to exit the corner right after that pad. If you wash out, it takes away a couple of feet on that exit. And Friedrich found out about that and may have taken some damage to his rear suspension there. We're going to take a look at that now. And so here we go. And we're rolling, where are we? Through the fountain there? We're going to try to find Friedrich's incident for you. Interesting. Yeah, we're not able to find that replay for you, but we did see it live, and Friedrich washing out of that downhill, a right-hander turn 9, and his left rear hard into the cushion right there. And and iRacing did not pick that up, but Friedrich's car certainly putting down times like he has picked up some damage. Oh, a huge crash there. Oh my goodness. That is looks like Barron. And they'll be calling the medics for him. And yeah, funny about you mentioned those lights, Aaron. If you look at the track, there are tons of street lights. This is downtown Long Beach, and there are a ton of street lights, but somebody didn't pay the electric bill because they are not illuminated.
No, they're not. But I mean, yeah, like you said, that was a huge hit. I mean, that's got to be at least a 20G impact, probably more. That was huge. Just got it slightly wrong under braking and sliding into the corner, hit the wall at exactly the wrong way. And I'm very surprised that everyone behind him managed to avoid him. That was very good driving from, I think it was Fonseca, Barry, and a few others. That was very good avoidance by those guys. But Barron out of this one, and yeah, not going to be seeing the rest of him at all over these next 14 or so laps. So we've got 13 drivers left. A couple drivers have had their own incidents. Of course, Barron's being the biggest one we've seen so far. Fonseca, I believe, had a bit of an incident at the start. Sebastian Lipp, currently in 12th, had a bit of an incident at the start. And we saw Tavares have that spin into turn 1. Everyone else, though, I believe, has been going on their merry way. Friedrich had a bit of a love tap with the wall that we saw, I believe, on lap 2. And he's carried on going, but with a bit of a wounded car, I can imagine. And as we jump up to the mid-pack, it's Raitanen and Tuominen fighting for 5th and 6th. Both the Finns have been very, very impressive so far this season. And of course, with only one round left to go after this, they'll be keen to impress here at Long Beach, kind of the last track that every driver's going to be fairly close to one another. And then we go to Long Beach, and it's just about bravery and driver skill and experience. When you go there, oh, that's very late from Tuominen. He's got to be careful, and just about avoids the wall, and just about avoids his fellow Finn Raitanen in front. That could have been a bit heart in mouth, butt clenching moment for Tuominen, but he's carried on, and well, he looks the quicker driver out of these two. I don't know about you, JR, but I can sense an overtake coming.
Yeah, Tuominen is flogging that thing right up to the limit. You can see those mirrors occasionally get a little smooch on the concrete. So Tuominen applying a lot of pressure here. And you got to think he's going to have a crack at Raitanen coming down that front straightaway. And oh my goodness, It is so fun to watch Indy cars right there. That's the run down Pine Street into that right-hander where we saw Friedrich go off, and even the Indy cars are struggling for grip right there, and see a couple of them loop, and it's fun to see him kind of slide through that turn 9. And again, if you're anywhere near the West Coast, I strongly encourage you to head out and check out Cardi Gras. It is fantastic. Meanwhile, up front, and look at those lap times. The top couple of cars are down into the 114s. There's now Lip from Gullickson, from Fonseca, from James Berry, from Reitman is your top 5. A fast lap right now is 114.55 by Gullickson, who kind of lost a couple positions, or lost one position at front, but is still hanging on to Lip and seeing if he can get something done. Lip so far able to defend despite that big draft down Shoreline Drive.
Yeah, the draft might be strong, but just through these lower speed corners, that SR10 is not loving life. Like you said, the setup definitely not optimized around here at all, and the dirty air not going to be helping Gullickson. And I'm honestly surprised that Gullickson didn't really defend that position harder, since of course track position around here is absolutely key. And here we go, Tuominen on Reitinen, but just wasn't close enough. Going to try and get the switch back. Has an opportunity to. Needs to keep it round the outside here at turn 10 and dive up the inside into the hairpin, but chooses not to. And all pushes Reitinen a little bit wide. Tuominen needs to tuck into the slipstream as we head down Shoreline Drive onto the main straight. This could be the opportunity Tuominen has looked for, and I have the feeling once he gets past, he's going to sail into the distance. Is it going to happen on this lap? He chooses the outside line, which, as we've seen so far, is very effective, but he just wasn't able to outbrake his fellow Finn. And yet again, frustratingly, has to sit behind Reitinen for another lap. Tuominen needs to be a little bit more aggressive, I think.
Yeah, and Tuominen a little, I guess, timid on the brakes there. We saw a couple other drivers make that outside entry to turn 1 work, and Tuominen's a big problem is coming up behind him in the form of Heinz Braun, and Heinz Braun not famous for his patience. If he's being held up by these guys, you're going to see him pull off a dive here sometime in the very near future. So Tuominen kind of needs to get off the pot at this point.
Yeah, I agree. Otherwise, you will see Heinz Braun going for an opportunity that some drivers probably wouldn't. But this is the beautiful thing about Heinz Braun is when he does make it work, it is gorgeous, absolutely amazing. But when it doesn't work, yeah, it's a little bit depressing, honestly. But which is it going to be this time? We shall find out as Tuominen once again very close to Reitinen, and this could again be another great opportunity. He's going to have to dart to the outside pretty late on. I don't know if he's going to be close enough again. He gets alongside, but again round the outside, Reitinen's a little bit better on the brakes. And Reitinen still keeping that 5th place, doing a fantastic job at defending, it must be said. And he kind of knows that all he needs to do is, as long as he outbrakes Tuominen, going into that first corner, he will be able to keep this 5th place spot, because there's not really any other overtaking opportunity on this track unless someone makes a mistake. As on that last lap, Christoph Lipp did set a fastest lap and is now pulling away once again from Gullickson. So this race could be Christoph Lipp returning to form after some very disappointing last few rounds. But definitely not disappointing so far, as once he comes round the final corner here, we will head on to lap 11. This race is flowing by.
Yeah, very short laps here at Long Beach, and Lip has done a good job stretching out that gap. It's up to about 0.8 now, which is almost out of drafting distance. And I got to say, Aaron, Tuominen kind of flirting with that blend line on entry to turn 1. You can move over right here where you see these cars and widen the entry to turn 1, but if you move over too far, it turns into a slowdown. So Tuominen needs to watch his car placement, see how far he goes over this time, a little more careful, and almost gets the outside. And there we go. That is one of those pads that is there for safety, but it takes away some space on exit. You got to make your exit happen right after the end of that pad, and Tuominen unable to do it, and he pulls a Friedrich right there, hitting his right rear suspension on that
he's got damage.
on that big safety pad, and Tuominen's car does not look like it's traveling working properly, so we may see him dropping. And you know that Heinz Braun is behind, smacking his lips because he wants a crack at Reitman.
Yeah, Braun is going to probably find his way past in, well, probably the next few corners. Chiminen's car does not look healthy at all. It just looks like the steering's gone a bit light. It kind of looks like it's pulling to the right ever so slightly. So we're going to have to see what Heinz Braun can do, as Gullickson now setting the fastest lap. So the top two definitely trading lap times right now, but just lacking a little bit consistency from Gullickson. And will he be able to close that gap and back up to Lip and go for the lead of the race? We shall see, as Braun got very, very close to Chiminen. He is very close. Has he gone for the move? I don't think he has. He's just backed out of it for now. But Chiminen, oh, what an unlucky situation. As I said, Reitinen just needed to outbrake him, and Chiminen tried to outbrake the outbrake, and obviously it didn't end well at all. And unfortunately, slam dunk into the wall. And oh, that's a big slide for Lip coming out of turn 8. So he is ragging this car around this Long Beach circuit, and Gullickson is closing the gap. So we could have a battle for the lead on our hands here.
Yeah, and I'm sure the fans and us as well would love to see that happen. And Gullickson, you know, in observing him, he seems to be a very patient driver. So he may just be driving his own pace and taking care of his tires. And Lip was flogging that car pretty hard to try to break that gap behind, and he may have overdriven that car and left Gullickson with better rubber as the race is winding down. We're on lap 13 of 19 now, so we'll see if Gullickson's tire management gives him a little bit more grip in this low speed stuff. Very tough to get these cars turned in if you've overheated the fronts. And meanwhile, there goes Braun.
Oh no!
Oh, bang! Oh my goodness! And the commentators curse. Braun doesn't even get to enjoy that padded safety barrier, straight into the concrete on both front and rear. I don't even know if that car is still moving, but that was a hell of a hit. It looked like Braun had it. Here he is setting up that move on the wounded car in front of him, and easy peasy. You see that draft pulling him around, setting up here to go into turn 1, and turn 1 very tough. It can be.
Oh dear.
Boom. Oh yeah, a little over rotation there under brakes, and especially with the lights off, you have to have your eyes kind of locked on those distance markers heading into turn 1 and hit your exact spot. You miss your braking zone, it's all over, and you saw it there. Ouch. That is a headache for Heinz Braun, who had the deal done, kind of gifted a wounded car in front of him and can't cash in.
No, yeah, that's the thing, is Chiminen was kind of actually letting him pass. He wasn't really fighting it at all. He kind of knew that one was lost. But like he said, I think Braun just got a bit distracted on the inside, couldn't quite see where his markers were, and unfortunately slid his way into turn 1. And I believe this can be a replay of what happened to Chiminen. And yeah, that was just a little bit too deep. And like I said, trying to outbrake the outbrake from Reitinen, and it just went horribly wrong. And somehow still in 6th place. Of course, that incident that Braun had helping him massively, but Reitinen now has just stormed off into the distance ahead of everyone else. And thanks to some brilliant defending by the number 10 Finn, he's probably going to get this 5th place. So once again, another very, very impressive performance from Sauli Reitinen, who has just been slowly getting better and better as the season has gone on. It won't be enough for a podium, but it's a damn good performance nonetheless. As we can look a little bit further back, this is Tavarin, as, my god, Lip now into the 14th threes. That is a very, very good lap from him, and probably pushing the Radical maybe a bit too hard. It might catch him out in this final few laps, as Tavarin, Lip and Friedrich all getting very, very close to one another for this battle for 10th.
Wow, 114.3, and that is being the lead car. That's without the benefit of the draft. And Gullickson 1/10 behind that for his fast lap, and he's getting a draft off of Lip. So Lip is absolutely cooking out here. And here is the brother of Lip. We actually have 2 Lips here on the track today, looking forward at Tavarin and Friedrich. Yeah, crazy stuff here at Long Beach. More or less what I was expecting. There's a few more cars on the track at this point than I was expecting, though. Frankly, very tough conditions around here, and even minor mistakes get paid. The punishment is quite severe.
Yeah, that's what you get with these old narrow street circuses. There goes Tavaren, as Friedrich has just been passed by Lip and Tavaren in one corner. So perhaps Friedrich's race is just getting worse and worse. And I can't imagine this is going to be very good for his iRacing at all, as up at the front, Gullickson and Lip getting very, very close once again. As this is what they're doing. They're just trading laps with each other. One lap Lip's faster, one lap Gullickson is quicker. And that last lap, Gullickson was quicker, but I imagine because of how close he is on this lap, it's probably going to swing the other way. Lip might just be about a tenth or two quicker. It is so tricky to get up to the back of someone on this track, and this car, of course, having a little bit of dirty air, not helping Gullickson's case at all. And he's going to have to push like mad if he wants this win. But at least on this lap, again, another 2 tenths lost, and this lap is probably going to go to Lip.
Yeah, and Gullickson possibly biding his time here. He might want to make that move at the end of the straightaway on lap 19 and just kind of hang where he is right now. As long as he has that, keeps that gap down to 0.4, 0.5, 0.6, he is going to be in position to make a move on the straightaway on the final lap. So we'll keep an eye on that situation. And the field has spread out here quite a bit. I'm looking at our timing tower, and the intervals are all somewhat large, aside from Bjorklund fighting Sebastian Lip way in the back for P11, and these two up front. Otherwise, the field has spread out. The crashes have happened. The damage has occurred, and at this point, a lot of these drivers are just wanting to get around clean and not pick up any more X's and take any more abuse on their safety grading than absolutely necessary. Riding along with Lip now, coming over the hill here on Pine Street. Great Irish bar here on the left. Here we go, entering turn 9. We've seen a couple incidents here to watch Lip slide it all the way up to the wall, and he'll start weaving to break the draft down this short straightaway, headed toward the IndyCar paddock. Is right here in front of us as we're coming down. We're about to start lap 18, and Gullickson still hanging with Lip. That interval you see on our timing tower, 0.4, 0.5. So he's going to be well within striking distance at the end if he can stay there.
Yeah, he's going to have to push like crazy. This last lap has been impressive from Gullickson. He's going to be about a tenth quicker than Christoph Lip, I believe. So should be maybe a personal best. It is a personal best for Gullickson. So he is pushing, and he needs to push harder, though. He's going to have to get into maybe the 14.2s and just rag this SR10 as quickly as possible. As like you said, into the first corner on the next lap is probably where it's going to happen, if it is going to happen. So come on, Gullickson, give us a moment to be proud of. Push like crazy. Not a great first sector, though, from Gullickson. Just got a little bit too deep into turn 5, and he can't make those tiny little mistakes. He needs this last lap to be absolutely perfect if he wants any opportunity. And Lip is and that's it. Yeah, there it went. Gullickson into turn 8, and that's going to be it. Oh well, it was fun while it lasted, and unless Lip does something absolutely insane, well, he's going to secure the bag on this one.
Yeah, turn 9 there is so tough, and like I said, I've sat there on the patio of that Irish bar on Pine Street many hours and watched the professional drivers struggle there, Indy cars and sports cars. It is downhill, it is low grip, it is off camber, and you've got that barrier staring at you where you have to kind of drop it in the bucket there, and it is nerve-wracking to do that lap after lap. And you saw it bite Gullickson there. Gullickson was all over Lip, was sitting on about a 0.4 gap, which would have been sufficient to try to make a move on turn 1 on the final lap, and he just kind of blew that entry into turn 8, washed out, and that is it. I don't want to jinx Lip, but he's not much on making mistakes. He's a 7K plus driver, and he is going to probably take this one to victory, having taken the white flag. So coming down to the end of this one, it's looking good for Lip, who got that jump at the start. Remember, I think he got a twofer right at the beginning, and got a grip on that P1 and has held on to it tight for the entirety of these 19 laps.
Yeah, Lip has been absolutely brilliant this race. It's a return to form after some very, very tricky last few rounds, and got an absolutely brilliant start, benefited from Behrens' mistake into that second corner, and then an amazing move around the outside on Gullickson on lap 2 is going to see Christoph Lip to the victory here. I was going to say under the lights, but there aren't any here at Long Beach, so congratulations to Christoph Lip. And hello, we have a battle on the last lap between Kyriakopoulos, Tavares, and I believe Bjorklund as well. This is getting awfully close, awfully dicey between these three, and Bjorklund probably going to try and get a good run around the outside as he tucks into the inside, going to try and get a good run, but he just had to back out of it as Kyriakopoulos doesn't manage to get Tavares, or will he? He's being pushed along, but it's not going to be enough for Kyriakopoulos to get that 9th place spot. And Tavares, after a very, very difficult start to this race, I must say, has had a brilliant comeback. He was, I think, 13th and about 5 seconds off at one point, so great job from him. Bjorklund with a good comeback as well. And Friedrich with, well, one of his worst performances I've seen in a long time. Absolutely no confidence after that first lap. Possibly some damage. And a huge knock to his iRacing. Minus 93. Oh, dear.
Ouch.
He's going to need a few weeks to catch that back up.
That's going to leave a mark. And my goodness, what great battling at the end. That P9 to P12, those 4 cars were inside of 1 second toward the end of that one. So that's one of the things I love about these radical races. If they're in the front or they're all the way in the back, they are all dicing, fighting for all it's worth all the way through the entire sprint. So man, that was a fantastic race. Apologies for our technical issues up front. Not really sure what happened there, but once the race got underway, these drivers put on a fantastic show for us. And man, oh man, I was really looking forward to this. Might have been a little more fun with a little more light on the track, but interesting nonetheless. So we're going to have those results up for you here in a moment. And Aaron will run through those with you. I'll take a look out in the hall. I imagine that Gullickson might be waiting to talk to us. He usually stops by, so I'll pop out and see if he's waiting for us.
And, well, he is, I can already see. So Gullickson probably is going to be a little bit disappointed after starting on pole, but still was a great performance from him nevertheless, as it was Christoph Lip once again back on form here at Long Beach and taking the victory 6/10 ahead of Havard Gullickson, who pushed him along the way all those 19 laps, as Fonseca, a very lonely race from him, and managed to pick up a podium, so fair play for him. And James Barry on his return, again, another driver who had a very, very quiet race and ended up in P4. Sauli Räisänen with a good defense to finish in P5, Tuominen in P6, Heinz Braun P7, Larson 8th, Tavares 9th, Kyriakopoulos in 10th, Bjorklund 11th, Sebastian Lip 12th, Friedrich in 13th, and then Guillaume Behrens in 14th and last.
All right. And yeah, we do have Havard Gullickson waiting to speak to us. So we'll go ahead and grab him. And Aaron, I'll leave this to you to pry out of Havard his deepest feelings about coming in here P2 at a rough and tumble outing at Long Beach.
Well, yeah, it's going to be amazing to speak to him once we drag him in. There we go. Havard, it's absolutely amazing to see you and Lip go wheel to wheel here, and maybe a bit frustrating for you starting on pole and finishing in second, but nonetheless it looked like you were getting the most out of the car today.
Yeah, I'm happy with the second place because Lip was very fast, very consistent, and yeah, I tried my best to keep up, and yeah, I did a little small mistake on the second to last lap, and he got away. But yeah, I'm happy with P2.
Fair enough, that's understandable, and it did not look easy out there. And we were talking as well during the broadcast about the setup maybe being a bit tricky this week. Would you say that you agree, or did you find the car nice to drive?
I always liked the Radical, but it was too stiff on this track. So if we could do something with the setup, it would be more easy. But it's the same for all, and yeah, of course I would like to drive in the sun, but it's so dark, and in the last corner when you turn in, you can't see the apex, so it's so hard. But yeah, same for all, and I enjoyed my second place.
Yeah, we were saying that, there are clearly floodlights, street lights, all around the circuit, and they're just not being turned on. So just utterly strange. But we can move on from today, what was a very messy and chaotic race for a lot of people, to the last round at Nordschleife next Friday. I would ask how you're feeling, but most people like the Nordschleife. It's very tricky, very, very tricky, but I think most of us all have a soft spot for that track.
Yes, I like it because the Radical, they told me at least that the Radical has a lot of grip on the track, but I have raced very few laps on the track, so if I will try again and keep up with the fast guys, I have to practice a lot, I think.
Oh yeah, 100%. It takes so much time and effort to get good at that. And well, if you can get good at the Nordschleife, you can get good anywhere, to be honest. So it's definitely a good place to put down some laps, and we hope to see you doing that next week, because, well, we never know what can happen in this Radical series. And as always, Gullickson, thank you so much for coming and having a chat with us. Anyone you want to quick mention or shout out to? Speak.
Yes, you guys, as always, putting on a good show. Always like to watch that in a replay later, so thank you for that. And of course, all my teammates in RGL Coatings and Sande Trafikkskole.
Well, we always put in a good amount of effort for these broadcasts, and yeah, good work from all of your teammates today as well. And thank you, Gullickson. It's always a pleasure, and good luck next week at the final round at the Nordschleife.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, that was your P2 finisher, Havard Gullickson. And incidentally, Aaron, I'm taking a look at the standings right now, and right now it is Gullickson, Castro, Friedrich, Christoph Lipp, Sauli Reitinen is your top five. Reitinen and Lipp probably too far out of it to have any impact. Gullickson about 80 points right now ahead of Andre Castro, who oddly we didn't see today, and Andreas Friedrich about 10 points behind Castro. So it is by no means sewn up, and the final race next week at the Nordschleife could matter. But in any event, speaking of the future, we are not just about these fantastic radicals here on Apex Racing TV. We've got a full slate of racing for you next week. Actually, very, very busy. We'll start the week on Sunday with IRTES Mixed Class Endurance Racing. Round 5 of that series will be at the Suzuka course. I think that's either a 4 or a 6 hour. So if you got a slow Sunday and you want to watch some fantastic racing, that is your chance on Monday. Apex Racing League Prototype Championship will be at Portimao, and the Rikmatech Mini Mites will be right here at Long Beach for more vehicle smashing action, probably during the day. On Tuesday, Operation E-Motorsport will have round 5 at Brands Hatch, and Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup round 8 will be at Suzuka, and that is only the first couple of days. We have got racing all week, so make sure that you subscribe to Apex Racing TV, hit that like button, and also hit the notification button so that you don't miss any of the action. And my goodness, folks, thank you so much for joining us for today's broadcast of Week 11, 2025 Season 1 of the Radical Esports Cup. And be sure to join us next week for 2025 Season 1 finale at the Green Hell. I am J.R. Gregory on behalf of myself, my partner Aaron Smith, our producer Joshua Wilkie, and everyone here at Apex Racing TV. Have a great Friday and an even better weekend.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.